Get your Godzilla figures at Big Bad Toy Store at the link in the description.
Dragon Ball, Pokemon, Kaiju, and more. It's Steven's Toy Reviews.
Hello there, collectors. It's Steven here, and welcome to the first entry in a new figure fight series, Diet Figure Fight. Yeah, so going by the rules of figure fight, you're going to have two or more figures that are going for effectively the same place on your shelf. Two figures that are going to be trying to do the exact same thing. We put them together and see which one, when we compare stats together, maybe does it a little better, maybe which one tickles your fancy a bit more. But sometimes there are going to be figures that are released that aren't quite exactly the same or going for the same spot on your shelf that maybe we should compare, and that's what Diet Figure Fight is about. We don't put in 100% of the production value, but we get a good comparison video. And to kick this series off, or the sub-series, in front of us today we have two versions of the Godzilla who fought Mecha Godzilla. Kiryu Goji. Of course, there are going to be some people who are going to say that that's not Kiryu Goji, and that's Kiryu Goji, and then there are going to be people who are going to say that it's Kiryu Goji, but I don't feel like splitting ears today. So, we have the Godzilla who fought Mecha Godzilla 3. All right, so here's what we have. We have the NECA on the left. This is from Tokyo SOS, and we have the MonsterArts on the right. This would be the first production run. Only one real difference from the recent reissue that came out, and this one is 2002 from Godzilla against Mecha Godzilla. Now, something you should notice right away in regards to a size comparison between the two, you're going to notice that the NECA is much bigger. So we'll go ahead and we'll get a size comparison out of the way. Now, for this one, I think we have some pretty good samples here. We'll go ahead and get the final battle Kiryu and NECA's King Kong. So as you can see here, if you're looking to keep it in the 6-inch scale, you're going to want to get the MonsterArts because there's no real Kiryu in this range. We do have the MonsterArts, which scales well, obviously, with the MonsterArts, but it doesn't scale well with the NECA. However, if you want a larger scale Kiryu Goji, then this one is going to be a good choice for you because you have like the NECA Kong here. That's a pretty good size comparison, and from what I've been told, allegedly the 8-inch Kiryus from Bandai Japan, specifically the boys division like the Vinyls or DX Walking, so forth, this one would scale well with them. So if that's what you're looking for, this would be a good choice. However, generally speaking, for that true blue 6-inch scale, the MonsterArts is going to be your choice there. Now, how about price? Well, here we have a little bit of a flip-flop issue because the NECA is going to be approximately $25, depending on where you're looking, who you're asking. MSRP will be a bit different, but that's generally the price tag. For the MonsterArts here, we are going to be looking at about $80 to $90. Yeah, so that's going to be a big price increase, but effectively, what exactly are we looking at for the price difference there? Is it going to come down to the looks? We'll take a look at that in a second. How about articulation? That will come actually right after this. How about accessories? Well, no, there are no accessories between either of these releases. So if you were hoping to maybe get a beam effect or a building with either of them, that's not going to happen. So nothing reused, none of the like. So how about articulation? What does that look like? Where are we at 1-for-1 with these releases? Well, let's go ahead and just take a quick look at that. So for the NECA, we are going to have a jaw hinge, opens and closes, and the head's going to plug into the neck on a ball joint, so we get some good range of movement there. You can spin the head around, do all that fun stuff. This section of the neck is all kind of like one sleeve, and it's on a ball joint. So we can twist it, and we can rock it a little bit, which is good. So that's kind of the neck movement we're getting there. And the head likes to fall off if you really push it, but it's a ball joint, so that's bound to happen. The only issue that I have with that, and I don't think I really touched on that in the reviews, is that their 1994 Godzilla, sometimes this portion of the head would break. I have that with I think it's my Reactor Glow Godzilla, so just something to keep in mind. But in regards to looking up, we get about that far. We can get it to even look down a little bit too. But for this Godzilla, he kind of has a permanent upward look, so that's okay. You know, it's kind of all right. All right, and now that I have some free space on my memory card, let's talk about the MonsterArts a little bit. So the MonsterArts is going to have a double barbell style ball joint for the jaw there, so it opens and closes. If you open it up a little bit too far, you do run the risk of the jaw either popping out or the sculpt becoming misaligned and it being very difficult for you to close the mouth. So that may have actually just happened there. Did the jaw pop out? No, it didn't. Okay, so then we do actually have a joint at the tongue, which I'm using my knife only because that's the smallest thing with the tip that I can use to get the tongue to move up. So yeah, the tongue is articulated as well. Now for the head, we have one amazing ball joint system here, which allows you to basically get all the range of movement you would need for the neck out of just that single joint there. So that is really impressive. Obviously we can spin it all the way around. But yes, that is very good movement there. And then there are other ball joints that rest in the neck, which do contribute to some movement, but realistically speaking, you're only going to need that one joint in the neck for the MonsterArts to get all the movement that you would need. So, in regards to that, kudos to Tamashii Nations for getting that amount of articulation out of a single ball joint system. Now, what do we have in regards to the arms? Well, turn this around, you will see that Kiryu Goji from NECA is rocking an actual ball joint in the shoulder. So that's cool. You can spin it around, adjust, all that fun stuff. Swivel hinge at the elbow. Swivel hinge at the wrist. And hinged fingers. Ab crunch, what do we have? We have a ball joint, which allows you to twist and turn from side to side, full spin movement if you'd like, and we can rock it, all that good stuff. How about the MonsterArts? What do we have there? Well, we're going to have ball joints at the shoulder, so we can spin all the way around if we like. This one on mine is relatively loose, but not so loose that it can't hold a pose. Then we do have a double hinge in the elbow, but it's connected into the forearm and up here where the shoulder would plug into the body, so the bicep area, on a ball joint. So you can see that's the range for the hinge. And then because there's a ball joint there, we do get swivel movement. Do take note that because of the sculpt, we're not going to be able to really twist and turn it like a normal bicep swivel. And this piece here is actually just a floating piece. So let me go ahead and just show you. See, it's just a floating piece. So do keep in mind that if you do push it a little too much, you will get it to pop off. Just something to, keep in mind. So we do have a little bit of a twist here at the forearm, and then the wrists, where the hand plugs in, those are going to be ball joints as well. So a little bit of movement there, pretty good. Now in regards to the torso for Kiryu Goji, you saw me using this just a little bit earlier. Ball joint. So if you really push it, you're going to pop them apart, but it's not that big a deal. You just push them back together. So we get a good range of movement there. You can hear them squeaking. Pretty intimidating battle pose there. All right, legs. Whoop. Double access barbell style ball joint on the NECA, which can be a pain to get back in, but doable. There we go. And lose some plastic while you're doing it. Okay, how about the knees? Well, when they do want to move, hinge. All right, and they swivel. Pretty good. Ball jointed ankles. So they do move pretty well there. And for the tail, good range of movement. Where the tail connects from when you assemble it in a package, it does like to pop apart, but that is what it is. And the tip here is going to be bendy wire. Okay. So yeah, good range of movement. Let's get the tail in a fun pose here. Okay, now how about the MonsterArts? Ball jointed hips. I don't really have any fear of them popping apart, so we're good there. Hinge knees with ball joints, so this way we can rock them back and forth. Fantastic ball joints in the ankles, so this way we get Real good ankle rocker movement. So there's going to be 2 ball joints there. Very good. On both legs. Wide sumo stance. And then the tail. It's pretty much going to be one of the best Godzilla tails in the line. This tip area here likes to pop off, but with some stubbornness, I've done it before, you can get Godzilla to bite his own tail. Come on. Ah. Oh well. But yeah. Very good. So in terms of articulation, the NECA is good. I really do like it. It brings some interesting things to the table. The MonsterArts just has better engineering. And we have many, many more joints on the MonsterArts. So if you're looking for something with better articulation, then the MonsterArts is going to be where it's at. So we have price taken care of. We have accessories. We have scale, articulation. How about the looks for these two? Well, here's what I'm going to say. And this is the main big point of where the diet figure fight portion comes in, because these are 2 different designs. And because of that, these can coexist on the shelf. So I honestly wouldn't have a problem putting either of these on the shelf, or both of them on the shelf. So if you just kind of want one design, you don't want scarred and not scarred, you just kind of want one or the other, maybe this video will help you out. But honestly, I can see these 2 coexisting. Now, taking a look head on, who does what better? Well, here's kind of where a bit of the issue comes into play. Because accuracy isn't always what is factored into what makes the figure better, but it does play a good part. And I would have to say, in terms of being accurate to the suit, which didn't have a whole lot of changes between the 2 movies, I would have to say that Yuji Sakai's sculpt on the MonsterArts is a bit better. You can see proportion-wise, it looks a bit nicer, particularly in the torso. The MonsterArts looks better, so that's a plus. We do have the face sculpt, as you just saw. We'll take a look at it again at a different angle. The MonsterArts is more accurate. But in regards to overall paint application, we do have more paint on the NECA. The NECA is going to have some dry brushing all throughout, which the MonsterArts does lack. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just something that NECA has added to the figure, so this way it has a bit more of a standout nature to it in regards to details. Now, if we take a look at things like the claws, so let's go ahead and get these hands up here and zoom in, we can see that the paint application on the NECA is just kind of applied. We can see clearly where it's masked off, whereas on the MonsterArts, we do have a little bit of a gradient here. We have some shading, which is good. Coming down to the likes of the feet, which proportion-wise, the MonsterArts looks better than the NECA. We can see that once again, we have some shading action going on here where that's not present on the NECA. To see a good example of the paint shading, once again, we'll go ahead and take a look right up here at the neck region. You can see that the NECA does have this shading, whereas the MonsterArts does not. Now, I think this is one of the biggest considerations here. Taking a look at the dorsal plates, we can definitely see, taking a look at the big one here for the MonsterArts, we can definitely see that the MonsterArts has nice shading, nice blending of the paints on the dorsal plates all throughout. Very, very nicely done. Whereas for the NECA, while it's good, it's not quite as good as the MonsterArts. Definitely impressive, but not necessarily all the way there, right? So that pretty much is kind of stacking up, relatively toe-to-toe. But where the biggest thing is going to come into play, it's going to be the eyes, I feel. Now, on the original production run of the 2002 Godzilla, The MonsterArts, well, had some issues. Mine is fortunately rather lucky, and the eyes are relatively well aligned. Some folks, not so much. The recent reissue of the figure utilizes digital printing for the eyes, and, well, not so great results. Taking a look at the NECA, looks good, just fine and dandy, no issues there to complain about. The only issue is that the face sculpt doesn't look all that great from certain angles. So in regards to looks, I would have to say that in general, for the big picture, I don't know. The NECA has more detailing to it, such as the dry brushing that's utilized here and there. We do have more paint that's utilized for the scar, and that's good. However, the finer details, like the actual dry brushing that's on the dorsal plates and the shading and the gradients, that's better utilized on the MonsterArts where it is used, and the overall proportions on the MonsterArts sculpt look nicer. So, if we kind of sort of had to do a scorecard, we have scale, which is going to go to the MonsterArts. We have price, which is going to go to the NECA. We have articulation, which is going to go to the MonsterArts. We don't have accessories, and then it comes down to looks. Since this is a diet figure fight and we're not really meant to go head to head here and go super duper in depth like we would in a normal figure fight, personally, I'm going to go with the MonsterArts just because of the fine tunings that are available here and there on the figure, looking better than the NECA. However, the NECA has a lot of interesting details to be found if you take a closer look. So in general, I would have to go with this guy over this guy if I were the one to make a choice. But these are two different figures going for different things, so in that regards, it's going to be you making the final decision. Okay, so that's going to be the end of the first diet figure fight. I really do hope you enjoyed this one. I hope that maybe helps you make your decision if you're looking to purchase one or the other, if you're kind of on the fence. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I hope to continue this series. I have a few more ideas coming up, and I'd like to know your thoughts. Do you like one figure over the other? Do you disagree that these both are going for the same spot on the shelf? I don't know. I don't think so, but that's just kind of how it is. So again, let me hear your thoughts in the comments. Now we're going to go ahead and wrap up the video here for the credits. So thanks to all the patrons for this month who have helped out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Here is your end cards. So this way you can be appreciated for as much as I can. And that's honestly not enough. And then here's the overall end cards. This way you can check out some more fun stuff on the channel. Maybe you can watch another video, click a link to support the channel, so on and so forth. And most importantly, thank you, Scorpio Scribe, Instagram and Twitter for making all the graphics on the channel, including all the Cyber Kaiju stuff. All right, that's going to be it. Thank you so much. I'll catch you in the next video.